In trying to explain contextual commerce, it's fair to say it sits in that same bracket as, terminologies we hear like social commerce
Absolutely.
or connected commerce or ubiquitous payments or
Exactly.
Frictionless payments. It's all kind of in that same space. I heard you explain last night what contextual commerce was through the lens of a consumer. What does it mean from a consumer's point of view? What's an example?
For consumers, well, I think it means enabling purchases at the moment of discovery, like when and where they first discover that product in the context of everyday activities, right? And so it could be on a social, right, on a social platform.
Well, the Pinterest example, which I think you worked on.
Absolutely,
on that
Pinterest
deal,
buyable
is
pins.
Super easy to understand.
Yeah, perfect
Talk us through
example.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So Pinterest is this fantastic visual discovery platform, right?
Yep.
There's millions of pins. People are going there to look for inspiration. They're searching there. They're discovering. But the experience prior to buyable pins was one that you're kicked off to various retailer sites, and you may or may not get to the right product description page. You may get to a cart. You may see it's out of stock. It's a suboptimal experience for users. And so Pinterest said, we'd love to provide more value to our users and kind of bring that checkout experience here, right? Reduce that redirected experience, reduce the number of steps, make it frictionless, and enable users to find what they want, buy what they want, and really it's a win-win, right? It's a win for the user, for the consumer, it's a win for Pinterest, right? They're providing more value, engaging their users, and then it's a win for the retailer because they're selling more.
So we've got, and I agree with you, it was a beautiful experience until you actually wanted something, and then it was a really tricky experience.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that last mile. But so you've got Pinterest involved on one hand, and you've got the seller, the retailer, on the other hand.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you to try and explain something complicated. How does Braintree join those two parties together?
Yeah, sure. So we are, again, kind of the silent partner in the background that's really facilitating the payments piece. So Pinterest, they've never traditionally sold to consumers. So what we do is we are allowing them to collect their payment information from the users and do that while reducing their PCI scope so that they don't have to be as super careful. Well, that's not the right way to say it, but that they reduce their PCI scope, and we help them securely share that information with those retailers so that the retailers can continue to fulfill the order. They still maintain customer service, right? Because Pinterest doesn't want to, that's not their business. They're not retailers, and so they're not trying to get into the customer service for a variety of different, products. They just want to be able to facilitate that checkout experience and provide the necessary information to the retailers so that they can continue doing their business as usual.
So are you interested in talking to, first of all, how do you describe in your universe what Pinterest is in terms of the product? Are they channel, platform?
Yeah, we use both of those words, right?
Yep.
It depends on who we're talking to and how they view it. But very much I think of them as the platform, but they're an additional channel. From a merchant or from a retailer's perspective, they tend to think channel. Right? They talk about omni-channel, right? And so to them, platforms like Pinterest are new distribution channels, new sales channels for them. And
you're part of building out that ecosystem. So you're actively keen to talk to, for example, it might be a publisher with a large aggregated audience that would like to better commercialize that. Would they be the kind of person that would contact you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the reality is it could be a variety of different types of channels. So on one hand, you have these really large platforms. Some are social platforms, right? Some are like Pinterest, visual discovery platforms where they have these 100 million user engagement, right?
Yeah.
They have huge platforms. They are a platform. But otherwise, we also work with, for example, just merchants that want to create richer experiences. So I'll give you a concrete example, right? Airbnb. Airbnb has been in the accommodations business, and that's their core product. But they see that accommodations, when people are booking those, it's because they're creating a trip. And a trip is a lot more than just the accommodation. It could also be, right, the dining experiences that you have. It could be, that even the mundane things like I need laundry or groceries on my trip, right? And so what they're trying to do, they're thinking about building out a platform, right?
Yep.
They're thinking about taking their own product, building it out to a platform to include other partner services. That's another perfect example of contextual commerce, right? Instead of being on the platform, creating your own platform, right, out of your own product.
Right. So we had this question last night.
Yeah.
Is this the beginning of the end for the traditional website?
Right. Is e-commerce the end of in-store? No.
Yeah.
Like, of course it is in a way, right?
Yeah.
You're like, eventually maybe that is in, but no, I mean, you really need to have both, and you'd be missing an opportunity if you weren't thinking about this contextual commerce space and kind of these new channels. I think all you're doing is like, you're just not necessarily capitalizing on your full capacity, right? On really where, I think there's some missed opportunities as opposed to, that you're making the website irrelevant.
It's funny because I think of it as this shift away from a traditional view that we see ourselves in a silo. Our platform, our website, our customers driving our funnel. Mm-hmm. This is actually about embracing actual consumer behavior, which is that we're always one click away from our next experience, and these are all contextual and connected experiences. So it's actually about connecting that infrastructure beneath the consumer experiences.
Yeah, and I think it's about partnerships. It's about connecting partners, right? There's only so far that you can grow directly selling to your consumers. At some point, when you're looking to even scale beyond that, you have to do it partnering with, selling through, right? Other partners and their platforms. And I think our tools are really what's helping facilitate that payments piece behind those partnerships. So like that's how I think about it. Is what type of partnerships? That's the conversations I'm having. Is what type of partnerships are you thinking about? Like, who are you partnering with, right? And being able to kind of see how our tools align with that.
So talk us through a hypothetical example. If we're a large retailer selling, women's apparel, perhaps. They give you a call. They say, "Hey, we're interested in the product."
Sure.
What are the steps? What's going to happen then? What are you going to guide them through?
So I kind of think about it, right? Like two different ways. One is where are your consumers first discovering those products, right? Mm-hmm. Where are they first interacting with your brand, discovering it? Oftentimes, let's just take an example. It could be through magazines, right? Online publishers. So I think about, so the next question I would ask is, what are some of those avenues, those channels that your consumers are spending time with?
Which they probably already advertise.
Exactly. They probably already have maybe an affiliate model with those publishers. And so the next question is, have you thought about, have you talked to those publishers and thought about trying to bring that checkout experience to their site, right? Is that something, and oftentimes it is, right? Those publishers have already been thinking about better ways to engage their users, ways to bring that checkout experience in there. And again, I think in the past, payments has been the tricky piece, and it almost is the non-starter. And what we're doing is now saying, no longer has to be, right? Like we're going to remove that barrier, continue to create these really unique commerce experiences, and just know that we can be that payments partner behind the scenes to really make that a seamless experience.
Wow. So at the moment you'll provide both the consulting and the implementation services, and you'll actually bring together channel and retailer, if it looks like the right model?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to say that I was doing a lot of consulting, right?
That's our job.
I'm not billing like a consultant. Let's put it that way. But no, I mean, we do, I think Braintree does consider itself very much a payments resource for our merchants and our partners, not just a service, a product or service. So for sure, I mean, I'm definitely having those kind of brainstorming conversations, workshopping conversations with our big partners. And then, as they need or desire it. And then we go through now how does this work, right? The nuts and bolts of implementation and maybe the less sexier part of that, right? But we do it all. We do.
Yeah. And it's still super early days. I think you launched in late 2015.
Yeah, late 2000. Well, I'd say mid 2015 is when we first found this need, right? We said Pinterest came to us and said, hey, we really want to do this cool thing called buyable pins. And so we developed a tool really for them. And then from that have now developed a set of tools based off of work that we've done with Facebook, that we've done with Skyscanner, some of our other big partners across the globe.
Right, tell us a little bit about the Skyscanner experience.
Yeah, the Skyscanner.
They've had some great results, haven't they?
Yeah, they've had some great results. So Skyscanner is a very well-known travel aggregator, large meta search site based in the UK. And Skyscanner has really helps its users search and find, right, travel itineraries. And as we know, right, the experience oftentimes when you come to these sites and once you finally find the itinerary you want, you hit buy, maybe you get 10 pop-up screens, or you get redirected to a site you've never heard of.
Do I trust these guys?
Do I trust them? And did I get to the itinerary that I really selected? And is it the same price? Right? All of these very important things to us as users.
Plenty of times.
And so what Skyscanner said is, if we're spending all this time and this energy, right, allowing the users to get to their ideal itinerary, why don't we let them execute on it, right? Why don't we let them buy here in the Skyscanner experience? Again, kind of providing that win-win scenario for the user, for themselves. Now they get to provide even more value, engage their users. They get to monetize in a different way, at least have the capability to do that. And for the travel, for their travel partners, it's increased conversion. And so to your point, they've seen a 20% lift in flight bookings.
Wow.
And I think really the kind of stellar stat that they've seen is 100% lift in ancillary services. So what it's proving out is that users not only they come and they're increased, they're converting on what they came to buy, but they're actually buying more, right? They're buying different services. And I think that should be compelling to really anyone, right? To any type of merchant.
So it's almost like you can develop kind of a T-shaped business. You can have your core, but actually build out an ancillary network.
Yeah, one that again
really cool.
it's fostering partnerships.
Yeah, awesome. So one last question, and I know you don't have been prepped for this, but tell us what's a tech prediction or trend that you're fascinated by or you foresee?
Yeah, so I mean, again, it's relevant to this space. So we've talked about contextual commerce, distributed. There's all these different ways. I think what I'm super interested in is this concept of conversational commerce. So we're seeing kind of the 1.0 text-based in messaging.
Kind of bots,
WeChat, right? WeChat's a great example of that. I think they've really, kind of led the way here. But now you're seeing all these other messaging platforms because it's in a way messaging is becoming our platform of choice as users, even more so than just the social platforms. And so I think it's an organic way through conversation. Oftentimes that's where purchase experiences or where products and services, where I share a product with you, you're like, oh, cool, I want to buy that, right? That's kind of the conversational commerce opportunity. And that's 1.0. Think about 2.0 now with all of these voice command, AI, assisted platforms where we can now live in a world where we'd say not only, hey, Alexa, turn on my lights, but hey, Alexa, order me my coffee from
my favorite coffee.
For the usual, so that I get on my way to work, right? And
wow,
have that
that's crazy to think.
it's like buying in the future, right?
But to be honest, it actually does feel like it's right around the corner because the craziest thing is that all of that technology now actually exists.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of implementation and uptake. So.
Yeah. So I think it's an exciting time, and I'm really interested to see where that goes. And I think with VR and AR, that now has like another, lens to it. Could you imagine if you're there and you're in this VR world and you see a product and you're like, buy that with my PayPal account, and then it's there, it's bought.
Yeah.
It's like, that's pretty cool.
It's a long way from like flicking through the magazine and then finding the phone number and then calling
going
and
online.
Closed and do you have it, and it's I don't know what it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous for my wallet, but I think it's a pretty powerful concept.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for visiting IE, and
happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And I hope you enjoyed your time here in Australia, and we'll come visit you in the US for sure.